This Friday, Governor Tim Kaine will present his proposed two-year budget to the Joint Money Committees of the General Assembly. This happens even though Democrat Kaine will be replaced as governor on January 16th by Republican Bob McDonnell. The dilemma both face is a projected two-year budget shortfall of between $3.5 and $4 billion. The biennial budget will cover the period July 2010 to June 2012. And joining us now to discuss the budget woes is JMU political analyst Dr. Bob Roberts. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
Now, Bob, there's actually two budget shortfalls. Why?
Right. The first year for the remainder of this year, which goes to July, it's about a $300 million shortfall, which can be taken care of by making about 5 to 10% cuts in state budget. So that's not really a major problem for Kaine.
And then he'll also present, even though he won't be around to take care of it or really to
administer it.
Is
the biennial budget, which means we have a two-year budget, which will be about $80 billion. And the problem with that budget is there a projected shortfall of about 3.5 to about $4 billion, which is made up of a shortfall of revenue and increased spending. In other words, the state of Virginia has committed itself to spend more money for Medicaid because Medicaid costs are going up, more people are receiving Medicaid, and increased funding for K through 12, which is required under the standards of quality.
All right, so he'll present that, but in essence, the new governor, McDonnell, I guess, can change it, or the legislature can change it.
The legislature is responsible for passing the budget. So this is just a recommendation to the legislature, and the budget has to be passed by the Senate, the House, and then signed by the governor. So these are his recommendations.
Okay. What are the options, then, if we're facing this nearly $4 billion budget shortfall? What can at least Governor Kaine suggest?
What Kaine is probably going to suggest is revenue enhancements, we call them. The major one they're talking about right now is to stop state reimbursing localities for the car tax. In other words, if the state stopped reimbursing localities for its share of the car tax, that would save the state about $1 billion a year. So that would be a major revenue saving for the state. That would
also be a major political hot potato, wouldn't it? Because this car tax was supposedly going to be rolled back, and they stopped it at what, 70%, I think?
Yes, and it was fixed at a certain dollar amount. In other words, it's been going down percentage-wise for about since 2004. So it's been falling down to about 50% now.
So even though that would be a lot of money, that's politically, it sounds like the new governor, McDonnell, says he is not in favor of tax increases.
He said absolutely no. He said he's not going to agree to it.
And that wouldn't be, there's no way to say that wouldn't be a tax increase.
That would not be a tax increase from the state. In other words, it would be a tax increase from the local government.
Right.
So the state wouldn't be increasing your taxes.
But he wouldn't. I mean, based upon his campaign
he said
promises.
He wouldn't. He's already said he wouldn't do it.
So you think Kaine might really suggest that?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
In addition, Kaine is likely to propose closing some more prisons. Because he has not been supportive of the whole idea of increasing incarceration rates, and he's tried to propose this before. He's shut down a few prisons earlier, and I suspect he'll propose to close some more prisons also as part of his revenue initiatives.
What other options are there beyond those two?
Not too many. The major option is to simply cut funding. In other words, cut higher education. For example, JMU receives about $73 million from the state. So if they cut our JMU's budget by 15%, that would cost JMU $11 million. So in a sense, you could do that. That would raise some. Another option, which I'll probably consider, is cutting state employee salaries. Governor Wilder did that back in 1990. He cut state employee salaries by 4%. That would save the state about $300 million a year if they cut state salaries.
Now, this is what Governor Kaine makes a suggestion, but what will Governor McDonnell do?
That's what I suspect. And in lieu of doing away with the car tax, I would think that McDonnell will propose cutting state government employees' salaries or furloughing them or laying off more state government employees.
Hasn't there been a lot of talk about hitting K through 12 funding?
And the problem he faces there, he's promised not to do it. So what they've talked about is to reallocate state education funds for teaching away from administration. So it's somewhat of a budgeting trick. In other words, we're not going to reimburse localities for as high as percentage for administration, forcing localities theoretically to pick up the cost for administration or cut their administration.
Well, anyway, it looks like somebody's going to feel some pain, it sounds like.
Absolutely. Someone will feel some pain.
All right. Well, we'll just have to wait and see how that pain plays out.
Yeah, we will.
JMU political analyst Dr. Bob Roberts, thanks so much for joining us.